ranking new movies released in August from worst to best. In last place has to be the new War of the Worlds movie starring Ice Cube, easily the worst movie of August 2025, and honestly one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. This barely even qualifies as a movie. It's pretty much like an hour and a half long Amazon Prime commercial where you're watching Ice Cube try to save the world on a Microsoft Teams call. It's so hilariously bad I almost have to recommend it. The acting is just laughably bad. You can tell he's just phoning it in for a paycheck, an absolute disaster from start to finish. Not much better. In 13th place is the new Netflix original animated movie Fix, which I think this picture above me tells you all you need to know about this film. It's one of those movies that's just so incredibly raunchy, trying so hard to be funny with every single line, but pretty much every joke is just them talking about balls. Somehow this movie tricks some pretty good actors to be in the voice cast too, like Adam Devine, Idris Elba, Catherine Hahn. They cannot save this terrible movie though. In 12th place is Honey Don't, more proof that the entirety of the Coen brothers' success was reliant on Joel Coen and not Ethan Coen, because this movie is absolutely terrible. Margaret Qualley plays this small town detective investigating some random murders happening. The solution to what's happening in this movie is so incredibly stupid that it almost ruined the entire film for me. Not that the rest of the film was any good anyways. And number 11 is Night Always Comes, another new Netflix original movie starring Vanessa Kirby. I'm not gonna lie, seeing her on the poster, the only reason I watched this film. The movie takes place over one night and it follows Vanessa Kirby. She needs to get $25,000 or else her and her family are gonna be evicted from their houses. And I'm not gonna lie, Vanessa Kirby's performance in this film is actually like incredible. Like, this character's life is honestly just terrible. This night she is just suffering all throughout it, and Vanessa Kirby does a great job at bringing that to life on screen. The movie ultimately feels very repetitive because you're just watching her do these like GTA side missions trying to get money for the entire film, and none of the side characters are people you care about at all. At number 10 I have Freakier Friday, obviously kind of a legacy sequel to the original Freaky Friday. It's only this low on the list because these movies really just aren't for me, honestly. I'm not the biggest fan of the first one. I think they're both just fine movies. Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan both do a pretty good job coming back to these characters, and I kind of like the new twist they have on like the body swap with their new family they have. There are some pretty funny moments spread throughout this movie. Like I said, I just am not the biggest fan of either of these films. Are not really for me, but if you're a big fan of the first one, I think you will really like this one. In 9th place we have Eden, a new movie from Ron Howard with an absolutely stacked cast. Anna de Armas, Jude Law, Vanessa Kirby, Sydney Sweeney, Daniel Bruhl, absolutely stacked top to bottom. Sadly, the movie wastes most of the cast. I think the first hour is actually pretty entertaining in this film because you're following a bunch of these people coming to this one island for escaping for one reason or another. They quickly just all start arguing with each other and hate each other's guts, so that part is actually pretty entertaining. Sadly, after about an hour of this movie, I feel like they completely ran out of story, even though it is based on a true story, and it just becomes so incredibly boring for that last hour. Like, it should have honestly just been a short film. So I think most of the cast is ultimately wasted, but I do think Anna de Armas is really good and entertaining in this movie. I loved her character. And number 8 is Eenie Meenie. This is a new Hulu original movie starring Samara Weaving, and it's basically like Baby Driver, except it's a little bit less fun. Yeah, it's pretty much just another crime thriller focusing in on a getaway driver. This time it's played by Samara Weaving. I do think she's really good in the movie, and the film is entertaining enough, just nothing incredible. At number 7, I have Nobody 2. The first film on this list I just call a straight up good movie. Not incredible or anything, but it pretty much just knows exactly what these films are. You're just watching Bob Odenkirk again play this regular guy trying to go on vacation with his family, and oh no, he's pulled into these shenanigans and he has to go incredible hitman mode, just pulling some John Wick moves out. Like I said, these movies know exactly what they are. It's nice and short, just some dumb fun with some good action sequences, and I had fun with the film. At number 6, the movie I never made an individual review for, and I know a lot of people are mad about that, it's The Bad Guys 2. I think this is a perfectly good sequel to the original, slightly worse than the first movie in my opinion, mostly because even though this movie is relatively short, by the end of the film I did feel like it was dragging on a little bit, but still a lot of those same fun shenanigans from the first movie. Of course, the animation's great. Everything happening with Snake in the first half of the film I thought was actually really funny and just a solid movie. At number 5, I have Nejad 2, which I only watched this film because it magically became the 5th highest grossing movie of all time. Now, it made almost all of this money, all this $2 billion in China, but I was like, okay, I gotta see what the hype's about, and honestly, I don't quite understand it making this much money, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I will say the animation and fight scenes in this movie are absolutely incredible and gorgeous. That's why it's so high up on my personal ranking. I do think the story kind of becomes an absolute jumbled mess in the last like 40 minutes. The movie throws 50 different plot twists at you and reveals and big moments, and the fight fight scenes just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and sometimes bigger isn't better. I felt like, again, there's too much happening at the very end. Some of the Chinese humor definitely doesn't translate over to American audiences very well. I also watched the dub of this, which I'm not gonna lie, was a pretty bad dub. That was a mistake on my end. There are still some absolutely stunning sequences in this. Like I said, I think the first like hour and a half of this movie is really strong. And number 4 is Caught Stealing, the newest movie with Austin Butler. It kind of just follows this regular dude played by Austin Butler, and one day his neighbor, played by Matt Smith, this dude in the mohawk here, he leaves him his cat to watch for him. And it ends up putting Austin Butler in this situation where he's now involved with all these different mobs and gangs and crime, and he has no idea what's going on. You pretty much just follow a couple nights of Austin Butler getting absolutely beat up, hunted down, and just trying to live to the next day. It's absolutely wild from start to finish. Not like the greatest movie or anything, but just super entertaining. And number 3 is The Roses. Don't be fooled by this poster that makes it look like some sappy Hallmark romance movie. It's actually the complete opposite. It's this comedy following this couple that absolutely hates each other's guts. They've just grown to be absolutely sick of each other. They're super jealous of what the other ones have and everything, and honestly just a super entertaining moments. There were multiple laugh out loud scenes in this of them just bickering between each other. And number 2, I'm gonna go with Weapons, the latest horror movie that follows an entire classroom of kids waking up at 2:17 in the middle of the night and all running away, and kind of the mystery surrounding that. Most of the movie's more of like a slow mystery, kind of following different people in this town, like the teacher of the classroom, a sheriff, a parent of one of the kids, and honestly I really like that different perspectives we got of all these other people. I do think the third act gets a little bit too goofy. I'm not the biggest fan of some of the big reveals that happen in the story, but overall a really solid movie that was super tense and just well done throughout. And number 1 though, I gotta go with the new Naked Gun movie. I think this captured everything that made the original Naked Gun so hilarious. You have to love this style of incredibly stupid humor, which I do. Liam Neeson was so perfect in this role. He plays it so dead serious, which makes it absolutely hilarious with all the insane things happening in this movie. Like I said, you have to know what you're getting into with this style of humor going into it, but I absolutely loved it. Apologies for this video being so late into September already. If you missed it, I did have pneumonia for the last like week and a half, so I couldn't upload any videos, but I'm back now. Make sure to let me know in the comments your ranking of any new movies you watched in August. And if you want to see all my previous month rankings all the way from January to July, click the playlist above my head right now, and thank you for watching.